Good evening, Andrew. How are you?
Marvelous. I'm just
Just
checking.
sharing.
I'm just checking my Facebook to make sure that it's coming up all right.
Yeah,
There's usually a bit of a delay with these, is there?
that's right. We'll just get the sharing going, and we'll see everybody else out there who's logged on or we're logging on. Share, share, share. Good subject.
Share. Right. I am doing that right now because
I'm just getting
my
mine.
laptop's all the way over there and it's easier to do it from a phone. So
And we're
oh,
live.
it's coming up that I'm live. So folk should hear a notification. Get the sharing going, and we'll see everybody else out there who's logged on or we're logging on. Right, okay. Right, so I can hear me. It's on my Facebook. Right, everybody's getting a notification, and I should have that there.
Yeah, I'm just sharing again to all the different pages we're on.
Once that's what I don't like about these things. It's like you sit there and you faff about with them, and you set it up and it's still never right. There's delays. Oh, there's Catherine. How you doing? There's delays. There's faffing about, and it's like, goodness, just do what I want.
Right.
Ah, never mind. Right, we're here now. Right, I'll share it on my page as well.
Right.
Join us for some crack. While it's still legal, I suppose.
There we go. There's some people streaming in.
All right, Lorna, how you doing? All right, Catherine.
Right. People coming in.
Right,
Just give us a wee hi if you're logging on. Just it'll take a wee while for people to log on.
Aye, that's it. I've got you've got my undivided attention. Well, between us and me, if it is I'm drinking Red Bush tea, I've got today.
Oh, I've got the green tea today. It's nice.
And ginger beer and lemonade.
Oh, fine. Yeah.
Yes. So
Remember that used to be the hangover cure, or was it soda water and lime?
I've never liked soda water. God, it's awful.
Yeah.
Anybody that likes like sparkling water is like there's something there right with them. They should be jailed or something.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Arlie. How you doing?
Let's get a few logging on now.
Oh, yeah, that's fine. I'll just take them out.
Should get the YouTubes and all that coming on too. I'm sure Mrs. Angry will be out there somewhere.
There she is. She's got a mint and Lorna's got a mint and green tea. Oh, I love a mint tea, you cannot. There's a peppermint and licorice tea I got from Asda, and it is unbelievable. And I got another in. I'll be back. Hold on. I've got about 30 different kinds of tea in my cupboard.
Right, that's me on live. As Angela going away for his tea, you know. We're just waiting for folk to log on, and we'll soon start the show.
Yeah, I like this.
Start the show. Well, Puka tea.
Puka tea, vanilla chai. I haven't opened this box yet. Whatever? No.
Sounds interesting.
I have actually. It smells lovely. Organic bio. Might have one of them after my bath.
Oh, well, you got to have your bath, Andrew.
I'm gonna have to because I've had my water heater on for the last 4 hours, and it's like, oh, I'm not gonna waste it.
Yeah.
So I put it on, and then I forgot about it, and I went to make my tea. It's like, oh, it's been on all day. No one did. Maybe electric's up to like £5 odd or something.
Yeah. Be a hot bath then, yeah. So, Andrew, getting back to you.
Back to the topic at hand.
Yeah, you've been away for a wee while.
Yes. Back in the fold now, though.
And you're back on, and I had a couple of weeks off the chat shows because it was Easter and all that. And the kids were off. Catherine says she's not the biggest tea fan, but she's got spiced apple and buttermilk in her cupboard.
That sounds lush.
So, when you were away, right, there's a few things that happened that we spoke about yesterday. And I know your knowledge of a tarot is just amazing. The subject tonight is, can anyone read tarot cards? And we'll talk about that in a wee minute. But you've also finished your book.
Yeah. This is the very first, well, technically the second version, because I got a proof a while ago, and so this is the final. This is what people have got to look forward to. Unfortunately, there are a couple of minor spelling mistakes that it was like after the fact, but it's nothing that'll detract from it. It adds to the character of the story. So it's turned out really nice. The cover's beautiful. It was a woman, Tanya. I can't remember her last name because I'm terrible with names, as you know. She was part of the project team, so she designed the cover. So I just thought it kind of captured the essence of the book quite nice. So the bear just kind of wandering around, and then on the back, we've got the bear at the top here inviting you to join him. And there's a little cheeky picture of me just at the bottom.
Put it in the big screen so people can see it. There you go.
Courtesy of Annie Ree's photography. So she's got a credit in this as well. So she's a photographer from Turriff. Beautiful, beautiful soul. Really talented. And she's done most of my photography, all the kind of shots, the promo shots and things. So, she's got a nice credit in there.
Yeah,
all right, Kathy, welcome. You haven't missed much. A great rambling about tea.
So, what inspired you to write the book? Because obviously, this is something you mentioned to me when we first met. And what inspired you to just go and finish it off now, or what inspired the book full stop? Because I know your love of tarot cards, and it's part of your journey as
well. I've always wanted to be an author. I've always loved storytelling, and as I said to you before, I self-published a couple of ebooks that didn't do very well, so I might revisit them later. But it was a while ago, I started studying, doing a degree in metaphysics through the University of Sedona. And when I was looking at the prospectus of it and the kind of agenda, when you finish your bachelor's, which I have done now, I got my results last week actually, so I've passed my bachelor's, and for the master's and then on to the PhD, so it gives you the progression. So one of the things was basically a subject of your choice. So I was kind of thinking about things that I could be. All right, Nikki, how you doing? I was kind of looking at things that I could potentially do for my master's project. And then I started thinking about the tarot and the psychology behind it. So I thought, I could do something about that. So that's where it started. So from there, I just kind of started writing more things, and I combined with some of my experiences with people and doing different readings in different places. And I thought, this is actually quite interesting. I could do something with this that's something a bit different. And then that's where the book ended up coming from. So I thought, well, I can make it a bit different because, as you know, there's loads of people that's written about the tarot, but nobody's quite written about it quite how I have, which is from a more personal point of view. So I've kind of weaved like part of my journey into the tarot so that people can follow along and see the kind of things that potentially the major arcana could relate to in their life. So from the Fool's Journey, the kind of subtext of the title there, the whole major arcana is like a kind of section of my life. And then I've went on to explain readings and like different structures and the minor arcana as well. So like my actual part of my story is quite small in comparison to the overall, but I think it's turned out quite well. I'm really happy with it, actually. Quite proud of it, to be honest. And it's not very often I say that about myself.
That's good. I'm proud you've done it because I see you developing your kind of spiritual side, and when we first met, it was through both our love of tarot cards and coming from a masculine point of view and not a kind of feminine point of view, and how we've both in my kind of alpha male life offshore and oil and stuff like that, how we both ended up loving the tarot cards and the spiritual path that we've been on. And I can relate a lot of my stuff to your stuff and the similar stories. Mm-hmm. And one of the questions I have in the subject tonight is, can anyone read tarot? And I think there's some of us who are naturally intuitive, who just use the tarot as a tool, And some of us who actually learn about each individual tarot card and do the real meanings of them, stick to that. And I say there's the tarot readers and there's the intuitive tarot readers. There's two different types of tarot card readers. Would you agree?
100%. Aye, 100%. And anybody could learn a script. And how I look at the tarot is the same as yourself and many others, is it's a tool to put a message across. And this first card that I've got here, the Chariot, like anybody could learn anything about that card and memorize it. But the true skill behind it, I feel, is being able to look at a card and interpret it in relation to the rest of the reading. And what I find, like, I tend to use some of the standard kind of archetypes for general kind of readings. If I'm doing like a video with no audience in mind, for example, I'll give the general kind of archetypes. So that's important it's important to know the script. 100%, it's important to know the script. That's a part that anybody can learn. But the intuitive part is what you really need to develop and to really dedicate a lot of time and effort into. So what I've found is that as additional cards come out into the reading, and as the querent divulges information, it could change the meaning of the cards.
Yeah.
And that's the difference between an interpretive and intuitive reader and somebody that's just working off the script. They won't be able to do that because it doesn't tie in with that narrative. So there is a big difference, and that was one of the things that really kind of upset me when I first started getting involved in reading, because I was going to some of the fairs, and I've spoken to you about this before, and other people, and I'm looking and I'm seeing all these readers that are there, and they're giving people the answers from the guidebooks. So they're pulling the cards, and everybody's getting the same reading, and it's like it's criminal that they're charging that. So to me, that's not a reader. That's anybody could do that. So
So again, the question, when you think about the question, can anybody read tarot cards? Answer: yes.
Yes.
But to be unique and good at it
and
effective, I would say no. It's like I think when Nikki here has said, nope, you've got to be gifted and learn, I think there's a combination of that. I kind of knew what the tarot cards meant before I knew, if you know what I mean. It's kind of the energy of the cards, colours, things I was drawn to. And then you pick up the guidebook, and what I was picking up meant the same as what was in the guidebook. So I always teach my students who are learning the tarot is don't think about the meanings. Just go over what you feel for the person in front of you for that card.
That's it.
And that's as simple as that. It really is.
Yeah. And so just kind of off the back of that, I can't remember what page it's on. I'm not going to waste a lot of time, but it's like art, is it? Anybody can draw, but there's a difference between somebody that can draw and an artist. So that's how I kind of, and I can't remember what page it's on in the book. I was looking for it there, but it doesn't matter. If you read it, you'll find it. It's near the end. So anybody could learn to do anything. It's just how effective you are and how you want to use it. That's what I think anyway.
But I used to say that there's a lot of different types of spreads you can do, for example, and meaning different things. But I think it's the intent. I just do a pyramid spread, and it's past, present, and future, and then just pull cards as I feel. It's like now there's lots of different spreads that we can teach and we learn. It's up to the individual to find their own way. Sometimes I don't even have a spread; I just pull a card.
Well, let me say, it depends if somebody asks my question or not. But in terms of the spread, like depending on the type of reading, I always ask people what type of reading they want. And if it's a general kind of reading, I'll do the same kind of spread. But I break it up into stages each time. So although I don't follow a spread structure as such, I follow the same kind of structure in my spread. So we'll look at the current situation, then we'll look at some advice and spirit messages, and then we'll then start looking at a potential outcome. So I always I generally follow that 3 stages, but the spreads in between,
that's normal,
I'll change depending on the type of reading that I'm doing.
But I think they're a fantastic tool for communicating, even with children and stuff like that, because you can get them to pick a card that closely relates to how they feel at that time.
100%. I think that's brilliant. Yeah.
And I think it's like, I had a laugh with the title of your book, The Fool. You know, it's like the Fool card I love because it's like, I see it as leaving the baggage behind and taking a risk. And some people said, you've been foolish doing what you're doing. Well, 16 years later, I'm still foolish then.
You're still foolish. I mean, we're all fools, aren't we? I mean, we've all got to take a trust at something at some point. We've got to take put our best foot or we're unbest foot forward.
Yeah. And I think when you're using the cards, or when people come to see us as a reader, as a card reader, or if we're going to somebody's house and we're doing readings, it's not just about the cards, it's about our other knowledge, the knowledge of being a healer, the knowledge of our mediumship, the knowledge, our spiritual knowledge in general. It's not just about the card. Because now, when I do a reading, is I don't pull the cards first. I tune into the person, then tune into spirit. Then I pull the card, and it kind of validates and helps me, because what I'm thinking comes out in the card anyway. And that's in angel cards and other cards as well. And
it's like different sets.
Yeah, and I think it's good to use different sets because they give you a different feel.
Well, that's it. And that's it with the tarot, especially. If you've got, like, I've got loads of different, and same as yourself, loads of different versions of the tarot, and I do kind of touch on them a wee bit in the book. The general message might be the same, but then if you're working with intuitiveness and you're looking at the actual the image that's presented, it changes the meaning again. So when you look at the Rider-Waite tarot, if you compare it to the tarot of the gnomes or something, or which is one that I think is quite funny, or like runic tarot.
I didn't see that one. I haven't seen the tarot of the gnomes.
I'll bring it out at some point. They're quite cheeky, but and then you've got like the Thoth.
It's heavy, that one. Yeah,
got like geometric tarot and spirit animal tarot, and I mean they follow the same basic kind of structure, but the imagery is different, and that's important, because if you can work with the imagery as well, you can pick up on different aspects of the message, and that's again how spirit can communicate with you through the cards.
Yeah, I think one of the funniest books I read at the very beginning was The Idiot's Guide to Tarot Cards. It's a fantastic book.
Okay, and I read it.
I've got it here. I'll need to give it to you. And I use it in my training. And one of the things, we're talking about numerology the other day, and you were on my course and don't know if I'm into numerology, and then here's you doing it now. But
I love it. I can't believe it.
And I knew before you, the cards are full of numerology, as you know. And also there's different things, as you know, expressed. And you never stop learning with the tarot cards, because there's astrology in the tarot cards as well. That's something I'm not into. But I can pick it up
astrology.
No. But it's in the cards.
We spoke about the feminine and the masculine earlier. It tends to be like more masculine tends to be more numerology, and feminine tends to lean towards astrology. Obviously, there's exceptions, but that's just what I tend to find. So that's Georgina saying she never uses a spread for pulling cards. So something she allows them to fly out the deck. So I sometimes do that. So if depending on the spread I'm doing, if I'm looking at a current situation, I'll say, right, give me a card for something that somebody needs to know right now, and I'll shuffle until it jumps out, and then I'll put that in the spread, and then I'll do the same. So it depends on the kind of reading I'm doing and what I'm drawn to. As you say, once you're kind of tuning in.
Yeah, I think the variety of card readers, and you're right. I remember when I first started out, and I wouldn't go anywhere unless I was feeling good about it, unless my psychic abilities were good, my spiritual abilities. But I went along to some places and they pull out the guidebook and I went, that's not a reading. It's like, you know. So I agree. But then again, they've got to start somewhere, and even just having the guts
to start somewhere, 100%. But it's the people that rely on it. And what I find with the guidebooks is they're very basic, they're very vague, and it's like gives you like a couple of bullet points and that's it. They don't touch on the imagery or the symbolism behind the card. I mean, some sets might do, but so generally I find the guidebooks to be quite lacking in terms of useful information, I would
Well,
say.
one of the things that helped me in early days was my granny used to love the cards, i.e., normal playing cards. Now, her granny was a psychic, my great granny. Her mother, sorry, my great granny. Now, she did readings with the normal playing cards because tarot cards are from, well, the playing cards came from tarot cards.
That's
And a lot of
right.
people don't know this, right?
Yeah.
But if you look at the history of tarot cards, playing cards, so everybody can use the cards because they use them in games,
Yeah.
and we just have more the major, and I can't even say it tonight. The 18 other cards. It's like, yes, there's different aspects of that, but I started learning in the early days how to read playing cards, and there's no pictures, there's no just the cards, and that really helped me. So if you're developing,
Aye.
try and read normal playing cards because sometimes I forgot my tarot cards. Somebody always had a pack of cards.
Somebody's like, aye, so you look at the 4 suits, they relate to the 4 suits of the minor
Yes.
arcana. And then you start looking at the ace through to the king. Again, that could be your court cards. Or but it's interesting you mentioned playing cards because there's so much more in terms of astrology to the normal playing cards than people realize. So there's 52 cards, one for each day of the week.
Yeah.
And then the 4 suits as well represent the seasons. And it's insane when you start breaking it down.
But when you think about it, there's a surprise. I was watching a documentary the other night, and they reckon there's 13. Can I say? How do you say this? Stars, right? In astrology, there's a missing one. 13. There's 13 cards in the playing cards.
Yes.
You think about the king, the queen, and the
jack.
The jack. You know, there's 13 cards.
That's right.
And why 13? Well, 13 is a death card, and 13 is rebirth, and they've all got 13. So why did they choose 13? And why is a death card 13? So when you start questioning, you get the answers. And it's fascinating. And it's playing cards that really got me into the tarot cards. And you move through the journey from that into the kind of the older tarot cards. My favorite is the Rider-Waite cards. No, I love these.
That's the ones I use mostly because that's what people like. I use the same set as this is a set I use in most of my readings in terms of the kind of bare boat, the kind of skeleton of the reading, and then I use other sets to kind of build around it. So there's a set that I've got, and it's I think it's called Tarot Familiar. I think it's called.
Yeah.
So the major arcana has all got images. The court cards have all got images, but the pip cards, so like the 1 through to the 10s, they're just get like 10 swords. So again, you've got to kind of work harder to kind of think, well, how does that tie in? What does that kind of represent?
Yeah.
So again, somebody that's not familiar with tarot would struggle to use that kind of set initially until they start building up their knowledge. And so as Georgina just saying about cartomancy. So I mean, like when I was writing my book and that as well, I was looking quite a lot into some of the different histories behind it as well. And one of the first, this was interesting, one of the first recorded transactions with the tarot was the King of France. There was an account that recorded 2 sets of tarot cards being commissioned, because that's how they started with like with the royalty and the people with all the money, the aristocrats and that. Aleister Crowley's cards. Right, so here's something interesting, Mandy. It was the Golden Dawn, Aleister Crowley, that commissioned the Rider-Waite Smith. So these are connected to Aleister Crowley, even though he did his own set as well after the Golden Dawn finished. There's a wee bit of history for you as well.
That's the froth pack as well.
Yes, because
I find them just to answer. I don't like them. I'll be honest. I find them very heavy and sometimes very dark. But that's my feeling of them. The froth. But some people love the froth pack, and it's a very deep and kind of maybe a lot of maths in that pack as well.
Yeah, there's a bit
And
more geometry in that as
yeah,
well.
and I think there's a lot
So
of
Thoth
people.
as well. He was the Egyptian messenger,
Yeah,
messenger of the gods, the Egyptians. And there was a guy, his name escapes me just now. He wrote quite extensively about the tarot to try and discover its origins.
yeah,
And he believed that the Tarot de Marcel, that was the kind of first kind of serious ones, but he believed that it was originally a library of lost knowledge from the
yeah,
Egyptians. And there's other people that have written that since kind of tried to
yeah,
disprove that. But the good thing I like about tarot is it doesn't really, it's obviously got history, but nobody really knows what the history is, which
yeah.
adds to its mystery.
And I think that's part of it. And I think the kind of the Roman kind of gypsy type people brought it over, and the Templars are linked to the
Aye,
tarot
that's
cards
right.
as well, because it's all about. Remember, in them days they told stories with pictures, and that's what was written down and copied in art. And then there's different art. There was a tarot card museum in Glasgow. I don't know if it's still open, Andrew, but I would love to go to it because they had thousands of different tarot cards.
I'll maybe have a look. So I'll be in Glasgow next weekend.
Yeah, there was. I don't know if it's still open, but there used to be a tarot card museum there.
Okay, that'll be interesting to find
It
out.
was down near the cathedral, I think. And it's funny how, like, a lot of people class reading the cards as devil work and all that sort of stuff, but there's a lot of good in the tarot cards because it's great for it's got all the human emotions in the cards. So
Definitely, aye.
it's a good channeling tool. And so I've never ever seen but been drawn to tarot. I only used angel cards. I'm looking to get into Andrew's book. Yeah, now, and I used to open it. Now the angel cards came before, they came after the tarot cards, and all the numbers are linked to the tarot cards or numerology. The same energy is in angel cards, I feel, as in tarot cards sometimes. And when I designed my own pack and something different from the Caledonian Spirit or to the What's the Crack cards, I linked it in with numerology as well because each card's got a number. And the feeling and the emotion I was trying to get out of that and put it into a Scottish kind of slang. It's like the first one I pulled tonight was "You're a stoter, Andrew." It's like, and and it's number one, the magician.
Aye, yeah, quite right.
So that's the card that came out. So we can all relate that, and that's why I'm so glad you've really embraced the numerology. Because I said to you in that course, you're going to really use this, and you're going, nah. And look at you now. It's like,
Can't get enough.
And it's good that you're bringing that in. But each reader has got their own particular, you could say, story or journey, and some of it's come from hardship or through traumatic times that we've opened up through traumatic times to something different. And I think it's like a dimension that we open up to. And I know that you've had challenging times and I've had challenging times. But what was the main thing that got you into doing sort of professional card readings?
Well, I've always loved. I mean, you know yourself. I'm from Peterhead, and that's quite a closed still to different types of spiritualism. So a lot of people find out that I do card readings, and it's like not interested. So, but I've always loved card games, and I kind of touch on this in my book as well. When it's like creating the fool, that's like a kind of introduction to me. So, and I still play card games like Magic the Gathering, Dungeons and Dragons, that kind of things, like role playing kind of games. And I've always loved cards because it's something tangible. So, when I started getting more involved in spiritualism, there was always something in the back of my head about the tarot, and it was kind of driven into me at a young age that it wasn't to be messed with. It was scary, it was evil, it was all this. So I kind of tried to steer clear of it. And that was the same like when people from that area found out that I was exploring that aspect of things. It was like, oh, you're going to have to be careful with that and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, right, okay, but why? So then I started to explore it. So this set here, I got it for £6.50 off eBay. And I thought, I'll have a look at it and I'll see what like. And I was just hooked. And when I started doing it was quite a long time before I considered myself a reader. So it was more healing I got into, as you know, like Reiki and eventually like sound healing as well. But then when I started getting involved with like the spiritualist church and learning about mediumship, again I wasn't really drawn to doing readings, but I liked working with the cards, and people were coming round for like case studies and like people that like clients, and it's like, oh, there's a set of cards. Do you do readings? And it's like, well, no, not really. So I started doing readings just for not a laugh, but just at the end of some of my treatments, I would maybe pull a couple of cards, and again, people started specifically asking for readings instead of healing, so I started getting involved in that. And then when I started doing the fairs, it was the same. I was just doing a couple of little cards at the end, a few oracle messages or something, like angel cards or something, just to kind of give somebody a bit of healing and then give them something positive to walk away from. And then over time, when people saw me at the fairs and the markets, they were asking, "Oh, are you doing readings today?" And it's a lot of the time I'm not, because there's usually an abundance of readers at the markets. But eventually the people that were organizing the market started specifically asking me to do readings because there was some demand for it. So I thought, oh, well, that's fine. So that's how I kind of started to get a bit more seriously into it.
I'm just reading the kind of comments here. Well, that's a fascinating story, and it's like it's like me. We kind of come into it by accident in a way. It's like, and it just happens. And then
one of the things, anything in my life's ever been intentional.
I know. I think one of the things that I used to do to help people in a reading sense was, and you've probably done this yourself, and people give me a bad name for it, but it's psychic spying, and it's like remote viewing with cards. And if somebody was worried about their daughter, maybe away, or the daughters or their sons in a difficult relationship, or they're not well, whatever. I know we don't speak about health and fertility and all that, but in these days we were allowed to, right? And we used to pull a few cards. We just think of them, and we ask permission in my head. Give me permission to spy on you to see if you're okay. And you get this feeling of yes or no. Did it?
Yeah.
And it always was spot on. And it took away the worry of the mother or the father or whoever was asking. And as long as it's for good intent. Now, I know there is people who can use it for bad intent, and we all know where that comes from. And it's the same. I was talking to somebody in America, and I've changed my logo a little bit, and it's got a triangle and whatnot. And somebody says, that's Illuminati stuff. I says, I'm not into that stuff. I says, it looks like somebody's getting a hug because I've got little hug thing signed, right? And it says, they stole our symbols. And it's like Reiki symbol, as you know, this one of the Reiki symbols looks like a Nazi symbol. And that's right, it's the other way around. And everybody knows that people can use these things in a bad way as well for not good things. But I believe in karma, and a lot of people that do that for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
They don't last. One, they don't last in this game, and they get found out, and the charlatans get found out. Because some of the stuff that we come up with, you couldn't make up anyway, Andrew.
Oh, no, that's right. The less we know, the better.
Yeah.
But again, you're touching on the symbolism there a wee bit. It kind of shows the ignorance of people, and not through any fault of their own, because there's so many different cultures. It's virtually impossible. Like, you could trace just about any symbol back to somebody that's used it for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
Even like the OK thing there, people tie that back to secret societies, is like 666. So it's like, where do you stop?
But it's like in numerology, if you do 666, right? You add it up, 12 becomes 18, becomes 9. It's like, oh, soul, wisdom, it's like, and 6 is the lover's card,
Exactly, yeah.
It's like, so it's always fear, and it's like, where did the 666 come from,
It's especially kind of with that, again, I'm kind of diverting slightly, but it's kind of backing up to that controlled aspect of information. And it's kind of seeping out into how we even speak to each other now. So people are not looking at the intent used behind symbols, words, actions, and they're drawing a different conclusion.
Yeah.
And that's something that's quite dangerous, especially when we speak about tarot and readings, because if I'm putting a message, or if we're putting a message across to somebody, there's multiple ways of putting the same message across.
Yes.
And if our intention is to heal that person, we'll find the right way to put it across.
Yeah.
Again, that's back to interpretation as well.
Yeah. And I think it's because I had to touch on the kind of the negative aspect of tarot card reading as well, because this is the one that's brought up. Oh, the Tower card, that's a scary card. Oh, the Death card, Derry, well, get that. And they're going, Death is about rebirth. It's like, and that's why there's 13 cards in the kind of playing cards.
If the death was the end, that would be the last card.
Yeah. It's like, and people worry about certain cards coming up. And I went, why? Because it depends where they come up, and when they come up, and what we're picking up from you anyway.
I have had a couple of negative experiences with readings, but every reading that I do has got a positive outcome. But it might be some very difficult cards that come up for them to deal with. And again, I have to be really careful if I'm doing it in like a public setting, like at a fair or something, because there has been a couple of times where I haven't been careful and something's came up and it's like, right, okay, this is something that they're not ready to deal with. I need to move on from it. And they're leaving and they're saying it was a brilliant reading, it was spot on, I need to deal with it, but they're leaving in tears. So if you're standing in the queue to get a reading and you're seeing all these people leaving in tears and with shocked looks in their faces, like, well, hold on, I'm not too sure about this. So again, I've had to learn some hard lessons about how to conduct readings in different settings, and obviously how to conduct myself and my energy so that people are coming and getting a positive experience in maybe getting, I don't like using the term dark, but some of the more difficult troubles more for like a private reading. So again, I'm careful with how I build the reading with that. Right, there's a troll.
Oh yeah.
That thing here.
Get rid of them. I had to block list. It's like it's gone. It's like yeah. And I think it's I was the same when I started out and you went to the fairs and whatnot. I used to just do general card readings. And sometimes you'll get a card come up where you get a feeling come up that there's somebody close to them who's going to pass away, for example. Right. And you can't really say that, or maybe someone's going to have a baby. And we can't even say that sometimes now because of the law. And a lot of people don't realise that.
Affect it. Right? Yeah. It's like as things are now, yes, it's leaning towards it, but kids, something could change because we've got free will at the end of the day.
Yeah. And I think
that's part of the problem. People forget that. It's like, oh, Andy said this is going to happen to me, and they stop acting, so it doesn't happen, and they come back in 6 months. You told me that this was going to happen, and it's like, well, what have you done? Absolutely nothing. Well, that's why nothing's happened. So it's all based on you following this path and nothing else changing. But obviously, things change all the time.
I think it's when people
entertainment purposes only.
Yeah, and I think this is why I went into life coaching and healing a bit more, because I found even when I was doing the TV type psychic stuff, it was very restrictive of what you could say.
Yes.
And I always say we see options for the future. It's not black and white. Now, if, for example, a druggie comes into us and he's not listening, whatever, we're going to see a negative end for that person. But we always try and look at the positive of that. Or somebody who's not listening, they're on a difficult path or challenging path, but they could do one change that we see they could do, and we try and hit them to do that. And they say, well, we try to encourage that. And I think the good thing about our type of readings, Andy, because I've seen you work, is we try and look at the positive aspects, even in difficult times. Because we can't avoid people in our family who are near the end of life are going to die. So I say, you already know
how you react to it. Yeah. That's how I try and put it across. It's like, this is going to happen at some point. How are you going to react? Because that's something you can always control. And I think I feel that we've kind of, as a society, we've kind of got into a position where we're looking at conflict avoidance.
Yeah.
Any kind of conflict. And this is having a massive impact. And you see it in the news and everywhere on social media. So when any time a conflict kind of card, like you say, like Death, the Tower, Nine of Swords, Ten of Swords, it kind of comes out, people are a bit like, oh my God. But that's how you grow, that's how you develop. Every single person that goes on to achieve greatness has went through some amount of conflict. If you're watching a movie, a superhero film, the heroes go through some kind of conflict to come out the other end. You need the breakdown to have the breakthrough. If you're playing a computer game, you need to level up through conflict, grinding it out. If life was easy, we'd all be achieving greatness all the time. And then
a lot of the conflict is with ourselves.
And same with all these triggers that people have got, and this is something that I found massively helpful to me, and this is something that I've tried to put across in the book. Things I was trying to avoid before. So people think they're healed, but then something happens and they're triggered, and it's like, well, you need to explore that further. You need to face that conflict instead of trying to remove it, because if it comes like coming back to symbols and words, if me saying a word's triggering you, that's your fault, not mine. My intention's not to trigger you. I'm just having a conversation. So you need to explore that more. And this is where I think that the readings are important, because we can, as healers, we can help people, advise them how to maybe resolve that conflict or explore their trigger. Right? Why is it? What is it, this word in particular, that's triggering? And you're then going down the kind of therapy, life coaching kind of scenario. And that's something that I found, like I kind of removed myself from doing readings for a while because I wanted to develop my kind of therapist skills a wee bit. So I went away and did some courses on like behavioral therapy and like therapy skills, not and like counseling skills, like basic kind of courses, so that I could actually handle that kind of. And that's something that I think a lot of readers need to be doing as well, because although we've got insurance, a lot of readers don't have that skills. So they're doing a reading for somebody. This person breaks down and unleashes all this trauma, and they're just like, okay, right, see you later. Then give me 40 quid or 30 quid or whatever it is. So a lot of readers don't think are prepared for actually being a reader, because they're looking at literally just pulling cards, whereas we're looking at it as a way to develop and help somebody.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people, some of these people don't even have insurance at these fairs. So let's be honest.
No, that's right.
And
I was one of the first things I got sorted, because over in America, especially, the amount of psychic mediums and readers and even Reiki, like the healers, that are getting sued because somebody leaves a session and something's been highlighted during the session, and they've been over, I'm having this panic attacks because of your Reiki, and it's like, well, no, it's highlighted something you need to work on. So
it's a healing crisis.
That's your fault, not mine.
Yeah, we call that a healing crisis, and that's what we've done is we've removed the blockage so the healing that the crisis comes out. That's why we call it a healing crisis, and we say, well, why have we got that? What have you reacted to, and what's opened up that we have been holding on to for sometimes years? I had somebody came to me who was in their 70s, and they've been holding on to stuff, and he started getting, it was a guy started getting panic attacks and everything, and couldn't figure it out. And I remember pulling the first card I pulled just for him out of the blue, which is because they were on the table, was the Three of Swords, which is a bit of a heartbreak card and all that. And he looked at it and I says, wait a minute. I says, because the next card I pulled was like the Fool card. You know, it's like an inner child card as well. Right. And I thought, this is childhood issues. And I says, have a think where these feelings have come from. When did you feel like this before? So I was putting it back to him. Then he came back, oh, you're right. And he opened up about his childhood, which is affecting him now because he's not working and he's got more time. And he's not thinking all the time about his work. All these issues after 50 to 60 years came out. And he says,
similar happened to me, like when I was in my 30s, because I was on my own. And again, I kind of touch on this in the book a wee bit, because it's important for people to be open. Like, I'm 100% open with everything that's kind of happened to me, because I don't see the point in hiding or lying about it. But so much things come forward when you're on your own, and that's part of the problem with that people can't be on their own. People don't like being on their own because it's scary. They think a lot, and it's interesting to see what comes up when you're on your own.
Yeah.
And as you say, like with that guy being retired, I was on my own a lot more, had a lot more time. So I'm sitting thinking, it's like, well, hold on, where's all this triggers coming from? I never had this kind of feelings before. And as you say, panic attacks and things. And it's a scary experience. And people speak about it with their spiritual awakening all the time. And as you say, it's a healing crisis, and as
Yeah.
opposed to a spiritual
And
awakening.
you think about this. Here's two guys, alpha male guys, talking about tarot cards. Now, I would go back 15, 20 years ago when I was working on the telly and stuff. I was probably, there were only like 2 or 3 guys, you know. And now there's a lot more men opening up, which is good because
Yes.
we are brainwashed into this, the strong Highlander type attitude, and, you know, men don't cry,
No,
you know.
that's right.
And we need to
There
show
still
that.
is an aspect of that, I
There
find,
is.
and it's people tend to, as you say, like mental health's massively important to me. I still feel that although people are speaking about it a bit more, there's still that stigma there.
Yeah.
And the reaction to, and again, I don't want to sound prejudiced or anything, but and again, I kind of alluded in this in my story, like when I opened up about a lot of my struggles, I was met with a lot of blank stares, like nobody knows what to do with you kind of thing. But yet, if I was a woman, I would have been met with a lot more support and hugs and open
Exactly.
and get being embraced. And I'm not saying that as a criticism; it's just an observation from my point of view.
Yeah.
And especially depending on some of the kind of trauma you're speaking about as well. If a female comes out with something and a male comes out with something, the reaction tends to be different depending on what it is. So I'm not saying that people are sexist, but that's just that stereotyping
Yeah.
and stigma that's still there.
Mhm.
So there's a lot of work still to be done, breaking down that. I mean, we've made a lot of progress as a society, 100% there is, but there's still a long way to go, and especially and we've spoken about this before, and how you support people
Mhm.
that are going through some form of like mental health
Yeah.
or like trauma release kind of
And I
issues.
think one of the sad things about what we do, and it's good that we are both trained, highly skilled in other aspects of holistic care and mental health, is some people come to a reader as a last resort. And
That's what happened to me. That's how I got into Reiki. That was the last thing that I had to try, and it
Mhm.
saved my life.
Yeah.
And which
And
is why I'm so passionate about it. Because if it wasn't for this side of things, I wouldn't be here.
yeah.
100%, I wouldn't be. So the kind of book is my way of giving something back to try
Yeah.
and let people see that it is a force for good.
Mhm.
And like honestly, it was like therapy, medication. I tried everything, and it was there was 2 people that mentioned Reiki across the same weekend. I think I've told you this story before, but there was one of them in particular that I was a bit more. If it was anybody else, if it was just the one person, I wouldn't have probably looked at it because it was
Yeah.
like that's not going to work.
Yeah.
That macho kind of like no, that's
Yeah.
not going to work for me. But it was one person in particular who was my hierophant, and if it wasn't her that suggested it, I wouldn't have went. So I went to have Reiki, and it was like I'd never felt anything like it in my life. It just reset me, and it was like wow.
Yeah.
It was as you say, it was like looking at the world through a new set of eyes.
Yeah. And I think it's like when I went and got Reiki and reflexology together, I know you do a bit of reflexology. I went, where's the wires? Because I had TENS machine before. I went, where's the wire? This feels amazing. And she told me Reiki. I said, what the F's that? You know, it's like, that was mine. Says, and here's me 3 months later, and it was Elizabeth Harley in the Reiki class. She's up here. And it was like talking to angels and fairies and feeling the energy and seeing auras and stuff. And then before I knew it, I was doing the cards and everything. And it changed my life. And I wasn't in a low place then because I was a carer for my ex-wife. And it was quite challenging at times. And I worked offshore. I just came out of all the Piper Alpha type challenges and the trade union movement stuff. And I was exhausted.
Aye.
And getting that Reiki changed my life. And I'm very passionate. As you know, we had the Reiki class yesterday and you were coming through, and we were lucky enough, because I wasn't running the course, Angela was, to get some healing yesterday, weren't we?
That was good. I enjoyed it. I
And
always
that's
get Reiki every so often myself.
yeah.
Because you've got to look after yourself. Aye, but it's fascinating. Like a lot of my pals, they take the mickey out of me because of all this. But it's in jest, it's in banter. You know, it's not for everybody, and I would never say everybody could benefit from it, but you have to be open to it. So,
Yeah, definitely.
just answering that question there, Kathy. I am actually thinking. I actually thought of an idea for another book the other day, but I forgot to write it down, and I can't remember what it was. But it'll come back to me. So it might be along the lines of meditation, but it was more like a not like a self-help kind of book, but something a little bit different. But I would need to sit and thinking it for a little while.
I've been talking about it. It's kind of, you've inspired me, because I've been talking about it for a long time. I should do it. And in a healing sense as well, I didn't want to do a book kind of based on all the things I've done, because it's like egoistic. And I thought, I want to do a book that's going to make a difference, just like yourself. And you've inspired me to saying, right, I've designed my cards, and
that's the first
now,
step.
Now it's time for the book. And good. I think it's telling my story as in a self-help type story like you've done. So you've inspired me to actually get down and do it now. And there's lots of articles, lots of things, and I'm in history books, other history books, and a lot of stories been written about me, which I didn't like, because it was not my side of it. And I feel that writing, once you start, I think once you start on the subject, like we are so passionate about what we do, and I remember last night after the Reiki class, we all went for a meal, and we're sitting in the restaurant, and the folks out there, I'll know it's a certain pizza restaurant in Elgin, and we spoke. Not one of us looked at the phone. Not one of us.
It was brilliant. It was a good night,
right? And we always spoke. We didn't even have a lot of drink because we were both driving. We spoke about holistic subjects and life in general, and people.
It was a real conversation, was it?
Yeah, people were looking around from other tables at us, right? Because I was noticing that earlier on, and then this is what we've been talking about later on: is we all need to communicate and talk more.
Yes,
you know, and
but we're not shown how to do that.
Yeah,
at a young age, and I was thinking about that the other day, because, like, I'll say hello to just about anybody, but yet it's funny because, like, as children, we're not really shown how to interact with adults because we're just told to do what we're told. So I was out for a walk, and I was an older guy walking a dog, so I spoke to him for a minute, and then I was a couple out with our baby, so I spoke to them, and I was like kind of saying hello to the baby and that. But then there was a couple of teenagers and a couple of younger people just coming out from the school, and it's like, well, I would never stop and speak to a younger person because I wouldn't know how to interact with them, and obviously you'd be worried in case you're labelled as a creep as well.
Yeah,
and they're looking as well, like, well, here's an adult approaching. How do I react? So there's still that kind of lack of communication there that's from a young age. So, in like I've put a lot of, because you know yourself, I've been involved in training for a lot of years. I've had to put a lot of work into my communication, especially when I first moved to Aberdeen. Nobody understood me because of the Peterhead accent, to the point now where my accent's completely changed. So that I try and make sure that everybody can understand me. So I do think that the communication is something that people aren't used to seeing, especially with phones.
I think you're right, but I think there's an awareness now, and I had a meeting tonight with somebody who talking about this, who works with children, and we're talking about mobile phones and stuff and communication skills. I think there's more of awareness now in parents in general, and there's a difference, but we have to learn as well, because we have to adapt. Because you come up with one real good point. It says, I was giving my son a hard time about being on the pads and games and all that. And he was telling me about a young client he had. And he says, this game he played, it needed at least 4 hours before he could really finish this game. And he says, all I want to do is get to the end of the game. It takes about 4 hours. And I remember getting shouting at my son Jason. He's playing. It was the FIFA games in the early days, and he's never off it. And I said, but he just wanted to play a full 90 minutes, right? So we had to come up and look at it. Okay, you can have your football match for 90 minutes at this time. And it says, and it's the same with that person. He said to the parents, well, he gets 4 hours on a Tuesday night, and that's it. And he's got to do his homework the rest of the nights, right? Now, the communication between the parents and the son got 10 times better. And I was listening to him and went, you know what, that's so true. It's like we have to adapt as parents to say, well, understand a little bit of why they're using the technology, because some of the technology is really good because they watch YouTube, they learn, they watch documentaries, and they are. Some of them really are using it as a real good tool. Then some are just using it as a crap tool and
as a distraction or as a babysitter. Yeah,
because it's like the old books. Some people are reading, studying on the pad. You know.
Yes.
So we've got to be careful that, yes, I'm all for technology. I love the chat GTPI. I love all that stuff. But we have to control some of it.
It has to be moderated a bit more.
Yeah.
As you say, there's anything people kind of over-rely on replaces a core skill at some point, is it?
And, funny you're talking about the baths earlier on. This will change the subject a little bit before we go to do any card readings. I was playing about with the What's the Crack cards, and I'm getting away wash your minging. And it's kind of, when you think about life, it's a sort of subject that we were talking about. Life throws us into messy situations, but it's how we handle the muck that defines us. Take this as a sign to cleanse and refresh and start anew. Shake off the dirt, dive into a rejuvenating experience, and emerge even stronger. It can also mean someone has been rude or nasty to you or others. Don't get tired with the same brush. Leave them to mine. And I think it's what we're saying earlier on is, you know what? It doesn't really matter if you've got a different opinion of us doing cards or whatever. We can leave them in their outdated visions or views. It's their choice.
Yes, that's right.
We'll jump into that bath and really enjoy it and have plenty of bath salts.
Exactly.
So, and it's like away with the old. It's like.
That just reminded me, I don't have any bath salt. I can't have a bath. I'm going to have to go to the shop after I finish this and get some bath salts and bubble bath. So I used the last of it the other night.
You make it a bargain.
I know, I'll end up doing home bargains at Inverurie.
And if anyone hasn't watched Bear Paws, his videos in the bath and in his nightgown, and they're really funny. And
nothing X-rated.
I really should advise you to watch them because they bring a lot of joy and keep doing them. It's like you will be a TikTok star or a Facebook star one day.
Well, maybe I
see it. Yeah. Now just sort of going over the comments there. There's a really good one there from Pip. I've been able to walk for 10 and hang on, I'm able to walk for 10 and was in MS relapse and got Reiki and she walked out the place. What amazing is that?
Brilliant. Aye.
And Brain Health in Scotland is showing the children's brains are not developing as they're not communicating with the spoken word. I kind of agree with that in the subject I was having today. And I think we need to get back into that in a holistic way. And it's not the children's fault sometimes. We've allowed this situation to happen.
We've allowed everything that's around us to happen.
Yeah.
Again, it's not just any one group or person's fault. It's society that's let it happen.
And just speaking about the tarot, you've got a course coming up on the 5th of May.
5th of May,
up in our place in Elgin. And I'm really looking forward to it because I'll be popping in and out anyway, because my love of tarot, and I'll be helping you and assisting you as well.
I know. I'm looking forward to doing it.
And I think it'll be great because you've actually done it. You got the course going. I need to get one going too. But I'm so glad that you're coming up because you've got a similar way of working than myself. And I advise everyone, because it's not just when you look at you're getting a pack of cards as well. Plus, there's going to be some online additional information.
There'll be like follow-up things as well. So, eventually, everybody that comes to my workshops once I get everything available and recorded for access, I would email it out for people to refer
And
to.
I think that's really good that you're doing that work, because it's something I've been wanting to do for a while, is design my own course, but I'm getting pulled in different directions now, like designing the cards and stuff. And I think it's good that you're doing that, because it's badly needed. We need a male perspective.
And a lot of the tarot courses that I've seen as well, they haven't been the best. So again, as I say, like with my background as a trainer, like I've worked as a training consultant for the oil and gas industry for a number of years. So I'm used to, I like putting training materials together. So once I understand a subject, I can break it down into the core things that what do people need to know? What would be nice to know and what not important. So I start with this and then just kind of keep it as streamlined as I can. It is quite intense. I mean, ideally it would be over 2 days, but it's hard to get people for 2 days just now. So I've condensed it into a 1-day course, and that's why I'm giving the follow-up kind of support as well, just so that people can dip in and out and work at their own pace.
And the day before, I'll just show some of the workshops coming up before we go into the card readings, but the day before, on the 4th, we've got the spiritual workshop. I think Andrew's coming up for that as well. And one of the main aspects of this is spiritual channeling. And that brings in the mediumship, the psychic protection, the grounding. And of course, you're going to get my famous soup and sandwiches. Everyone's experienced that, and you just have to come and experience that. But there's going to be a lot of fun with that as well. And it's serious, but it's not serious. And then we've got a kind of mini workshop this weekend. And this is the paranormal and the spiritual combined. I'm doing my mindfulness, psychic protection in the morning. And Sarah Chapa, she was part of the kind of Scottish ghost hunting type scenes. And she is an expert in researching, validating ghosties. And she's got all the electronic tools, and she's going to teach us how to use them. And just bringing in something to play with, and it's the haunted dolls. Now, everybody's terrified of these haunted dolls, Andrew, right?
Can imagine. Scared of them just now.
It's not. If you're protected and in the right space, you can go anywhere and not worry about it. And this is part of the course. And then we've got the laughing yoga and decluttering after that. So we've created an all-day special, calling it Super Saturday. And you've got your mindfulness and spiritual development in the morning and the afternoon, emotional decluttering and laughing yoga with Natalie. And you've met her. She's a lovely teacher.
The laughing yoga is brilliant.
And it's not just the laughing yoga she's doing this time, it's decluttering emotionally and the house. She's actually an expert at helping people declutter.
Okay.
So I'm really looking forward to that, because I'm a bit of a hoarder sometimes as well. So it's like, and then we're doing our spiritual carry. You were the last one. Just me and Angela, and everybody will have a carry out, and then we just have fun after it. And that's what we introduced the numerology to you last time, remember? And look at you now. Now look at this. It's all day, and it's only £80 for the whole day, and that's with soup, and you pay for your own carry out, right enough. It's an all day. And you know what? It's about being with like-minded people. That's why we've made it affordable to everybody, because we enjoy doing it, and we're giving back in some ways as well. Plus, it pays for the rent. So it's like, and it's not about. And I really am looking forward. Now we've got the lovely Jules coming up at the end of the month, doing a whole weekend course on crystals. It's an amazing she's got some knowledge of crystals.
Jules is unbelievable.
And I've known her for a long, long time, and I don't know anyone that's got as much knowledge as Jules. No. She's got a lovely shop in Ellen. She's coming up. She's doing a night before the weekend with us, just a chat. And she'll be talking about the crystals. We'll be there with her. I'll be talking my experience with crystals. I worked in a crystal museum for 10 years. So I'll be helping, and I won't be doing the crystal workshop. Angela's going to do it though, but I'll be facilitating some of the stuff anyway. So I'll be there helping Jules. And then this week we've got Tommy coming up. He's hosted, and I'm doing the mediumship. But Tommy will jump in and do some mediumship as well. And next month,
you've got Sheila up in it.
Next month, and
she's lovely.
Anyone that doesn't know these people, Tommy and Sheila, come along and meet them. They're lovely people and fantastic mediums, really are. And and Sheila's really good at the art stuff as well. She's really good at the.
Aye, well, she did a tea leaf reading with us that time, Sheila.
Aye.
And it was interesting.
Yeah, and we do of course, we've got a tea leaf reading coming up in May again, me and Angela, and that's really a magical time, that is. It just.
I prefer just drinking tea than reading it, though.
Aye, and it's the crack between the tea leaves. It's a crack when you're drinking it and having a crack with everybody. And we do a little bit of spiritual education, you could say, beforehand. So it's all good. And we've got an amazing guy with us, and you've met him. It's Charles Lightworker. Now, he is what we call a professional medical intuitive. And if you want to become a professional medical intuitive, and it's people like myself and Andrew who've got some healing skills, intuitive skills, it's kind of aimed at, or anyone interested in helping others but using their intuition. So we're having a workshop. We've also got a chat as well, and it's involving, it doesn't matter what area you're in, whether it's healing, intuitive readers, there's something for everyone in this talk and workshop. And it's very, very popular in America now, medical intuitives. And Charles is in his 70s. He ran a centre for 15 years over in America, a holistic centre, and he's now over here working with us. You've met him. He's an amazing, knowledgeable guy. Just coming to meet him in the course is worth it anyway. And he does the sound baths and all that as well. The sound tuning forks and all that sort of stuff. And that's fascinating to learn. So I'll get rid of that now. It's like, here we go, back on. So the last wee half hour, if you want a wee card, well, actually 20 minutes. If you want a wee card, guys, just put the word card up. And we've got some, these events look amazing. Thank you, Leanne. And cousin of the there's Georgina. She's talking about the haunted dolls and generally creeped me out. Couldn't go near it because I felt sick and very uneasy. Now, everyone's terrified of these dolls coming in, Georgina, and it's like, I'm not, because I feel it's the people who work with the dolls that are haunted and bring it in. That's my personal opinion.
It's like anything that you're using for your conduit for your energy. So if your energy is no good, it's got to be through that thing. Right. Yeah. So, all right, Jessica, how you doing? First started Monday. Right. So we get a couple of cards for Monday.
Mandy, you're doing, what is it? There we go, Mandy. I'll put her up.
Right.
There we go. And I'll put you in the big screen so you're drawn to her. It's like
right. Quite a few things here. We'll get there's a few popped out there actually. Will you be able to change your camera, Derek, just so that we can see?
Oh yeah, I can get you. I can put the camera up, the three of them. I think, how did we do it? I think we did it this way the last time. No, it was like that. That's it.
Right. Right, so there's a couple of things here. So the center of it, we've got the sun, which is your happy place. Now, it looks to me like you are in a happy place. You're where you're meant to be, and you feel that. But I just feel that these are a lot of things that are going on round about you. So we've got the Knight of Swords, we've got the Five of Wands either side. So these are things that are happening quite close to your situation just now. So there's one person that's quite impulsive, possibly drawn to the past, that they're bringing up. And this is maybe why there's a wee bit of conflict. So it's like, you said this, you did this, blah, blah, blah. So they're not moving on. And this is starting to have a bit of an impact on your actual happiness. I feel this is somebody quite close to you. So just be careful with that. This is somebody that can be really nasty with their words. So the past event it's to do with some kind of conflict that in your head you've moved on from, and it was just a minor kind of issue. But this person's making it a mountain out of a molehill. So the other side of that as well. So once this has been resolved, it looks like there's going to be a decision to be made from you that's going to have a wider implication emotionally. So there is going to be quite a lot of emotions attached to this. So there's going to be a cleansing of some kind emotionally. So I hope that makes sense. I think you know who this Knight of Swords is. because it's something that you're passively aware of if you're not directly dealing with it just now. So I hope that makes sense, and I hope you can take that. I've got a wee mindfulness card here for you. So this is from Dokudo number 7, which is the path best walked alone, Miyamoto Musashi. Never be jealous of others, good or bad. So this could be a lesson for this person here. There could be a wee bit of jealousy here about what you're doing with your life that they don't like, and that's maybe why they're being quite vocal about it. So don't let yourself be sucked into that green energy. So I hope that makes sense. And best of luck to you.
I know Mandy well, and I think I know what it's all about. So we'll leave it with that. Mandy,
Okay.
I pulled a quick what's the crack cards. You're in a wee bit of a pickle, but and then look, it's card number 9. Use your wisdom to overcome this. And I think you'll be in running courses yourself soon with me and Andrew. I think so. And the artist side, because she's a fantastic artist.
The artwork that Mandy does is phenomenal.
Right.
Like once I've got a bit more money, I'm wanting to be buying stuff.
We've got an artist in the building as well, Naomi, and she'll be getting introduced, and I know that she'll get on well on Mandy as well. Now, who's next? Leanna Cameron. Okay, I'll do a wee card for her. I'll put me over at the side here. It's like, and then I'm going to pull the Rider Waite card as well. I've got great big ones that John sold me. Massive cards, you know.
Aye, I'm wanting to get some of the giant eans.
Oh, they're good for the telly stuff. It's like now, Queen of Cups. Now this is bringing in your motherly side, because I feel because you're a teacher, Leanne, and no, it's not. It's Leanne Cameron. It's a different one. I'll get mixed up with Leanne Coots, the one below you. But and Leanne's not a teacher, but it's the motherly card. And now I know you do a lot of mothering for lots of other people, and sometimes including your own mother. You're mothering sometimes, and there's a lot of love there around that. So is there new love in your life? Because I feel that in some ways, because you're such a strong mother figure, you're bringing people to you. And, you know, I have always said to you that you should be doing this sort of work as well. And I know you kind of are, but it's trusting your intuition a little bit more because you're doing it from a place of love, Leanne. And I would love to see it at some of the workshops again, or running your own workshops, because I think you're an amazing spiritual person, and you're a very motherly person as well. You care for everybody, and you'll probably meet her sometime, Andrew. She's a lovely person, and she works closely with another friend of mine as well, and I think they're doing amazing work. So keep up the good work. Now, there's Leanne Coots is the one who I thought it was. I'll let you do her because I know her too well. Like,
what's she? I actually think I've done a reading for Leanne before. I can't remember.
You have. Right. She's the teacher. Right,
so if it's happening for Leanne, give me a card, please. Right, no, right, or something, a wee decision that needs to be made about moving forward with something. Okay, so we've got the Star and the Four of Swords. Right, so I think you need to be a bit more patient with yourself than you are. I think that you're kind of you're looking at the leaf. So people say you can't see the forest for the trees. You can't see the tree for the leaves. That's the kind of thing that I'm getting. You're hyper focusing on something to the point where you're missing the bigger picture here. So to get that clarity, you need to kind of slow down, stop what you're doing, take a step back, go into this Four of Swords energy. So it's kind of like a minor version of the Hermit. So Hermit's all about kind of taking a step back, discovering your own path and using that wisdom. Four of Swords is more of a short-term kind of thing. Just literally catch your breath, look at what you're actually working on and seeing what you can be a bit more effective with your time. So I hope that makes sense. And then we've got mindfulness cards here. I've got shuffle them so that I'm not just getting the same. You're going to come out. Be non-judging. So this is one of the pillars of Buddhism. So be non-judging.
Yeah.
So don't be too harsh on people that are involved or situations around this as well. Do what you can, take that step back and let other things resolve. Don't interfere. I hope that makes sense. Best of luck to you.
I've got the boss as a numpty, and I think she knows what I'm on about. So I'll just I see if we get time for a couple of more. There we go.
I'm not sure if we'll get through everybody.
No, we'll just get a few done because I've got
You'll need to do Jessica because I know her quite well.
Aye, I'll put myself doing in the spot here. It's like Jessica. I'll just cut the pack just roughly here. I've got a good feeling around you, and I've pulled the magician card straight away. I feel to pull one card, and what I think with you, Jessica, is you don't believe in yourself enough, and I really feel that you need a little bit of a push, and I feel I want to cuddle you at the same time. So I feel as if you've maybe had a bit of a tough love kind of time in the past, but I feel as if I really need to push you. And with a name like Lightfoot, maybe that's why. But I've got a lot of changes coming up as well. So embrace the change and not be frightened of them. And I've got a lovely feeling and a love sense around you as well. So there's a lot of love coming your way, or there's a celebration you're going to. And I really feel quite happy, and I haven't been happy for a long time. You're good at put on a face. I feel that. You're good at put on a front. And it's good to put on a front, Andrew, at times when we're feeling low, because it forces us to take action as well, because we really want to feel that for real. But I feel that you're going to be happy and really feel that joy within, and it's coming up pretty soon. So take that lovely, I'll pull a wee, what's the crack cards. Oh, it kind of matches up. It's like, let bygones be bygones. So that and it's card 33, and I'll get a bygones translates to let bygones be bygones. In the ebb or flow of life, misunderstandings and tiffs may arise, but hold on to grudges won't serve you any purpose. This card reminds you to practice forgiveness, find peace, and move forward with an open heart. And I think you're in the process of doing that, and I really feel be the magician now. Helen Murray, Andrew. I'll let you do her because I know her too well.
We're balancing out quite fine tonight.
Aye.
Right, give me something for Helen. Helen Murray. Give me something for Helen, please.
And always remember, guys, when that Andrew's shuffling there, that you can get us privately. The details are on the post, and you can get us privately for a session or whatever, or come and see us at some of the events what we're holding.
Right. Okay. So we've got another decision here. Right. So I feel this is more to do with your work. So the Two of Pentacles is about balance, but not allowing yourself to be too imbalanced that you can't react to things. So there's all this stuff happening around this juggler here that they can't react to because they're too busy balancing this out. So any additional things, it's going to set them over. So the two things that we're picking up here is we've got the Ace of Wands, which is a new passion, and we've got the Knight of Cups, which is kind of where to take your emotions. So it could mean that there's an offering of love coming in from the Knight of Cups, but I don't feel that's the case. I feel that you're maybe looking at your work as the decision. So, for example, if you want to do something that you're more passionate about, maybe a new career, a different industry, do something for yourself, self-employed, for example, or do you stay where you are because there's a lot of emotions attached to it? So the Knight of Cups here is a wee bit hesitant. So although there is action there, he's not quite convinced yet. He's pulling back. So if you've been in the same workplace for 10 years, you know everything about the job, it's maybe gotten a little bit stale, but you've got a lot of friends there or clients that you've got a lot of emotional attachments to. So again, that's that decision there. Do you follow your passion or do you follow your emotions? Hope that makes sense. And you can't spend too long on this. You need to make up your mind, because the longer you think about it, the less likely you're going to act. So do not under any circumstances depend on a partial feeling. So this is Dokudo number 3. So I think that's brilliant, because do not under any circumstances depend on a partial feeling. If you're not convinced, don't do it. Does that make sense? I felt a dramatic pause was needed there.
I've called to piss myself laughing, so I think this is you going to be after making your decision. So now we'll do one more here. We'll do a double here. We'll both throw a card for Kathy because she's really been involved in discussions tonight.
Aye.
And I feel sorry, everybody. We had such a good discussion. We kept it going for the card reading tonight, and we will have Andrew on again. And
yes, it's hard to get everybody. Like if there's a lot of folk needing cards. The last my night time, I did a live, and I was on for 5 hours because there was that much folk needing cards, and it was like
it's very exhausting.
Aye,
we've got to look after ourselves. So you, Kathy, I've just
things jumped out there for Kathy.
Yeah. Well, I've got one jumped out, so we'll do a double as we show the cards at the same time. Well, one card of your lot, and the card I've got this.
Right, so I've got a Knight of Swords, a Two of Wands, and the Empress.
And I've got a Knight of Cups, so there's definitely emotional knights around there anyway.
Aye. Okay. Right. I'm feeling that you need to be a bit more. I feel that your confidence needs to be reinforced a bit more. I don't feel that you give yourself enough credit. I feel that there's this. I feel this is somebody else. So this could be a new love coming in, for example. They see you as the Empress, but you don't feel like the Empress. So it's like you don't see what they see in you, kind of thing. Does that make sense? I hope so. So the Knight of Swords, was it a Knight of Cups you had, Derek?
Yeah.
Aye, so we've got. I feel that there's potentially 2 suitors, but I feel that there's one person in particular that's going to present an offer in of some kind. And initially, I feel that you're going to be quite taken aback because it's a bit like, well, hold on, that's not for me. That can't be for me. So be a bit nicer about yourself.
Yeah,
confidence come through.
And I think my pulled up what's the crack card is reap and rain or shine, life's a climb. So she's going through challenges, and when life drips become a downpour, it's time to grab your brolly and dance in the rain. Challenges like raindrops and are fleeting. That they remember every storm ends afterwards, and the world feels fresh and renewed. Embrace, cleanse, and stride on. So it's backing up what Andrew was saying there, and I really do feel it's your time to shine, but you've got a few decisions to make before then.
Yes. So the card I got there was Dokado 21. Never stray from the way of strategy. So whatever decisions you make sure it's based on what you want. So these knights that are approaching you with offers, don't let them overwhelm you. Don't let them promise you the world unless they can back it up. And if it's not something that you want, don't take it. Don't settle for less.
Yeah. And I'll just put your camera off just now so we get 2 of us here. It's like, and I have to say sorry everybody for we can't get around everybody tonight. We're a bit late in stopping our chat, but when the chat's so good as we had tonight, you can play this back and you'll learn from, I would say, 2 amazing tarot card readers. We're both very similar way we work. We're both different characters, but we're very similar in our outlook as we do it out of love. And I'll just get rid of that caption just now. Here we go. Oh, it was a chat, wasn't it? Kathy's here.
Yeah. So the book's official release is tomorrow. So if you get onto my Facebook page, you'll get a link for the priority list. I'll be sharing it in the morning as well. So there's a 50% discount for people tomorrow through the priority list, and they get early access as well. So if you're not already on my page, I urge you to join and click the link.
Yeah, it's all there.
For everybody that buys the book, I'm giving a 50% off.
Yeah, I'm hoping you're just going to bring me one off anyway. It's like, and we'll advertise it for you.
No, that's brilliant. So everybody that buys the book, 50% off everything in April.
And don't forget on the 5th, you can come up for the weekend in Elgin, everybody, and spend my day all day course. And I'll be on it as well and helping, and I'll be helping him in his course on the 5th, the tarot card course. So you can come up the whole weekend, and it'll be an amazing and we'll go for a meal afterwards as well. Now, just a reminder, this week we've got Tommy and myself doing the mediumship at Soul Retreat. I am thinking of live streaming some of these now, because we can only get so many in, and there really are. Book a seat, please, because we can only hold about 30 to 35 people. And we've got the Saturday, all day Saturday, great day, super Saturday. And if you're in the area or want to come and spend 11 to 12 hours with us and just have a fantastic time. And if you don't like the dogs bit, you can go for a walk. Angela's going to do some treatments, I think, because some people don't like the dogs. But don't, you can go away and leave that part of the course. It's only an hour of that part. And come in and get the laughing yoga and that after it. And that will soon change the energy.
I'll change the atmosphere.
Yeah. So thanks, Andrew. We'll get you on again soon.
No, thanks for your time. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and
always a pleasure.
I look forward to seeing the book and having a sit-down read of it. And no doubt we'll see you again shortly. And
thanks everybody for the comments and the engagement tonight. It's been good.
Yeah, and it's been fantastic. Some great comments and great to see everybody come back on. And hopefully every Monday, or I might change it to a Thursday, depending on what's going on. But we're going to do a lot more lives, a lot more interviews as well. And we might have more than just me and Andrew on talking to other people as well. Because we are thinking of bringing back my Psychic Breakfast show, but we'd kind of need 3 or 4 people in that. Because it is tiring, Andrew, doing a lot of readings on there. So we have to limit ourselves as well. And it's just giving a wee taste, but a bit of fun too and a bit of banter. Yeah. So anyway, guys, thanks for listening and see you all later.
Right, good.